tonight. We're going to be discussing a plan for our students to prepare them to apply for scholarships over the next 4 years. And then I've got 25 scholarships at the end that are available to students to apply for today. And these start as young as 12 years old. So if you have younger students or even older students that are also planning to college, all of these scholarships are available for them to apply to now, and then that money will be held until they declare what college or university they want to go to in the future. So before we begin, I just want to remind you of the controls that you have available to you. There is the sound button, so if there becomes an issue where you can't hear or it's too loud, you can turn that down inside this meeting, or you can try the controls on your computer or your cell phone. And then if you just want to give us a notification if you stepped away, or if you have a question, or if you're having sound issues, those buttons are there as well. But we will be taking questions at the end of this presentation, so you can send us a note that you have a question, and then we will make sure to address those at the end. And the last housekeeping item we have is we have an online series coming up November, December, and January. It's a 3-part series that's going to be online, like the one tonight. It's about tech careers are the future. So it's a 3-part series. It's going to be focusing on how technology is kind of the new normal for any occupation that you're looking to, or your student is looking to become in the future. So we have a professional who is currently working in technology-related field that he's going to kind of give his expertise and show some of the skills that are required to participate today and will take us into the future for the skills that your students are going to need to know. In December, we're going to have a university that's going to present and kind of give you an idea of what classes your student will need to take in high school to be prepared to be accepted into these technology programs. And then in January, we're going to be featuring the high school career tracks that have a technology focus. And we were up at the high school today kind of viewing some of those classes, and they're pretty cool. So if your student hasn't had an opportunity to kind of explore some of those tracks, we'll give you a chance to find out what those look like here online, and it'll give you a conversation starter with the counselors at the high school to try to get your students involved in those programs. So with that being said, let's move on to tonight's presentation. I'm also going to be your presenter. My name is Miss Williams. Most of you I see that are online tonight, I know most of you. And my title is actually the Family and Financial Literacy Advocate. So this is kind of right up my alley, trying to find scholarships and money for the students that are going to be going off to college soon. So that's going to be our focus for tonight. So the first thing I want to do before we get into those scholarships that I know you're all dying to find out about, how do I get that money to help me go to school and become what it is, you know, that I dream to be in the future? There's actually a plan that I think I want you to know about before we just jump into all that. Nothing just comes by accident. Everything that we do has a specific purpose and actions in place to make sure that they happen. So there's an action plan that goes along with developing scholarships, and even just in a broader term of getting into a college, picking colleges that you like. You just don't wake up one day and end up in college. There are steps that are involved. So we have the 5 steps here, and the first one is setting goals. We all know that making goals is the best way to kind of write down and verbalize and project what it is that you want to happen. You know, Goals help you clarify what it is that you want to do, kind of set your focus and give you some guidance on what you want to have happen. Goals motivate us. Goals kind of filter out some of the opportunities that you're looking for. So if you've written down that, I know I need $10,000 to go to X school, that's going to give you that focus to make sure that you are finding that money to get you where you need to go. And then that also helps us overcome the resistance sometimes that happens. We think in our head, I need to do this today. And then halfway through the day, you've forgotten, and it makes it difficult to kind of achieve that goal that you set. But if you write it down and you're looking at it constantly, it helps us remember and it helps us kind of make sure that we get those goals completed. So what I have here on the screen, if you're thinking about your goals, you have your big picture goals and you have your little picture. So the big picture goals is just kind of those global questions. And when you're trying to decide careers and college and just trying to figure out how much money you need, the questions you should ask yourself is, what do I do that makes me feel accomplished? Write those things down. Encourage your students to write them down. Students, write them down. What are things that you do that make you feel accomplished, that you're good at? What are you interested in? What are those things that cause you problems? Math is one of those things that I think a lot of students would say, I need work at. But if you wanted to be an engineer, mathematics is probably a key skill that you're going to need to accomplish that goal. So once you have those pros and those cons, you should dial it down even more specifically. You said you wanted to be an engineer and you have those math classes that you need to work on. What colleges do you want to attend that offer engineering programs? What are their requirements? So we know, for example, that engineer, and you're going to need mathematics. Did you know that the math requirements at the high school across the country are not enough to become accepted into engineering programs? Many require you to do higher level math besides the minimum grade requirements. You would need to know that now as freshmen and sophomores to make sure when it comes time to apply to get into those schools that you've had the time to get those math classes done. And then how are you going to meet those requirements? So if you're needing calculus and we're in Algebra 1 this year, what's the plan? You might have to take some summer school, do some classes online to get that done. But if we're not thinking about that until our senior year, those goals become unachievable at some point. So starting now is a good plan to kind of figure out how we're going to get this done. And the last one is how you're going to pay for it, and that's really the focus of today. How are we going to pay for college? So the first one is to plan. You have your goals. Now let's plan how we're going to get there. The first suggestion is to plan to apply for as many scholarships as possible. This is a numbers game. If you just apply for one scholarship, you all know the odds are very slim that you're going to get that scholarship. But if you cast a wide net and you apply for 50, 100, you're going to increase the odds that that money is going to come to you. The more that you apply for, the better off you're going to be. Another plan is to develop materials that can be reusable. So some of the scholarships that I have available for you all to apply for tonight have a common theme you're going to notice. And this year's common theme that I've been finding, it has to do with patriotism. I can assume that it has something to do with the climate of, the United States right now, but they're asking students to write what patriotism means to them. So if you have kind of a generic starter, to the scholarship essays, then all you would have to do is kind of tweak that information to fit more specifically for the scholarship that you're applying for. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. You want to kind of use one big thing and then make changes as you go. That's going to help you kind of do more than one scholarship at a time. The third plan of action, I think this is a good one as well. You want to leverage your class time and the schoolwork that you do to help you with scholarships that you might be applying for. One of the ones that I saw is there's book reports that you can do. You read a book and then you write an essay on the book that you read. So if you have book reports that you have to do for your language arts class, pick one of those books that you were going to have to do for your scholarship. Turn that in, then you have an instant feedback from your teacher. Your teacher's going to be looking at grammar, they're going to be looking at if you're able to convey your ideas properly, and that's a great way to get some help on whether it's quality work. And you're killing two birds with one stone. So do some research ahead of time. Find those books that are available for you to read and apply for scholarships. Do those book reports for your teachers, and you're able to do two things at once. And then the last one is a great one. When you find a scholarship, go to the website and review some of the past winners. Most of the ones that I have to show you all today have who won the last year or the last 2 or 3 years. Use that as your guide. Use that as an example of what they're looking for. If you can do something, I don't want to say exactly the same, but kind of with the similar writing as far as the words that they might be using, pictures, details, if you have an idea of what that looks like, you're going to be able to get a better idea of what it means for the authors or the judges and what they're looking for. I think I've lost my screen here. Give me just a second. Okay, we're back. Another plan is to study. So a lot of the scholarships that you're going to find have to do with your scores, your grades that you're getting in school. And then the other hand, there's a lot of scholarships out there that have nothing to do with grades and scores. They're just, can you create a fun product? Do you have a creative idea? So there's both ends of the spectrum for all kinds of students. But if you're a student that has a high GPA, that has confidence in their scores, you want to make sure that you are doing what you can to increase those scores and increase your ability to get those scholarships. So one way that you can do that is through your PSAT scores. Now, I know we have a lot of students out in the audience today. In 8th grade, you took a PSAT test. From that test, you got a score. And that number kind of gives you an idea where you are when you actually take the SAT test. If you don't know your score, I would suggest that you find your site coordinators, Ms. Phillips, Mr. Cross, Mr. Ford, and ask them, what's my PSAT score? I want to know that number. And they can give you that number, and that's going to give you an idea where you're at right now as a student. Average scores, if you were looking to get a scholarship for your PSAT scores, and your junior and senior should be around 1,400. If you had a score above 1,400 and an average score is somewhere around 12, you can actually receive an automatic scholarship just based off that score. And the higher they go, the more money you'll receive. Now it varies by institution, but I have an example here that the Baylor Bears, if you received between 1,400, you're getting a $41,000 scholarship. And then it kind of changes as the higher your scores are. Other academic scholarships, you know, the math and science classes are a big deal. There's a whole push by 2020 that we need students that have math and science skills. So if you're taking those math and science courses in high school, that's going to help you get scholarships. Having those skills, showing the educators that you understand what it takes to be successful, that's going to get you a scholarship. But it's not just academic skills, like I said. There's also this thing called soft skills. And there's lots of scholarships out there for soft skills. Are you a student that knows how to collaborate, work with a group? Do you have good communication skills? Do you have the ability to problem solve? Do you take on leadership roles? Are you in organizations at school? All of these things are going to be important when you're applying for your college scholarships. So did you know that there's scholarships out there for students who work part-time jobs in high school? If you have a part-time job, you could find a scholarship to help you pay for college. If you're on a debate team, if you're on a student newspaper, yearbook, if you're on the Rotary Club, all of these different things that you can do in high school will prepare you to be ready to apply for scholarships. So I know we think, you know, I got to go home and do my homework, but there's other parts of being a well-rounded student besides your grades that are going to help you get that money that you need. And then volunteering. We did a whole segment last month about volunteering. Recruiters are looking for students who can give back, that can think beyond themselves. Grades, at some point, there's going to be 10,000 other students that are applying for the college or the scholarship that you're looking to go to or achieve. And what's going to make you look different, because all the grades, everything else looks the same, is what you were able to give back to your community. That's what's important in the end. One day you're going to grow up and be business professionals. You're going to own businesses. You're going to work for the government. And can you make decisions that are going to globally impact people that you don't know? Volunteering gives you those opportunities to kind of experience other people's reality. Teaches you how to give back and understand that everybody has something different. There's also scholarships available. If you do volunteer work, I know the DeSoto Rotary Club, which we do a lot of work with, gives scholarships for students who participate. And then just out there in the universe, there's other scholarships available. It just takes a little digging to find them, but they are there. So there's two types of scholarships you can get. Once you get to be a junior and the senior, you will apply for university-based scholarships, where the schools will be giving you money to attend. It's their money that they're offering to you. And those are usually based on your test scores, your volunteer work, and extracurricular activities. You remember those soft skills that we talked about before. Now, these scholarships are usually annual scholarships, which means you'll get them every year. For the 4 years that you're at the university, you will get the same amount of money. Now, we're not quite to junior and senior year yet, so you guys will be looking at private scholarships. Now, these can be available for students 12 years of age and older. The youngest ones that I've seen are for students that are about 12, all the way up until students that are, in their 90s. They have scholarships. If you want to go back to school, parents, there's scholarships available. And these are monies that are given from private institutions, people's memorials, things that have been set up to honor others maybe. And the money will be sent directly to the institution your freshman year. So you usually get some kind of information in the mail that says that you received the scholarship, you were the winner of the scholarship. And once you declare what college or university you want to go to, you send whoever offered you the scholarship that information. And then in year 2020, 2021, they will send that money to the university, and it'll be available for you on that first day of school. Now, the difference between these and, say, those university money is these are non-renewable. So it's usually a one-time payment that you'll receive. But, money is money. You continue, even though you're in college and you've gotten your scholarship money for your freshman year, go and apply for more the next year. You're going to see a lot of these scholarships that I have to show you all tonight. They don't take a lot of effort. It takes time. You have to put some thought into it. You have to do the work, but you're not having to do like 1,000-word essays. There are a few, but most of them are just kind of fun things that allow you to kind of participate and think outside the box and, think critically. Okay, so here's the part we've been waiting for. Those scholarships. Now, you don't need to write these down. I have a section here at the end that allow you to download a document that has all the website addresses and the information about dates and how much money they are. And if you're not in a position to download them, I will email everyone that's with us tonight this information in the morning. So if you can't get to it tonight, don't worry about it. I will email everyone all the links, all the information. So I have them in order of when they were due, and I promised you 25. So let's start with this first one. This is a $30,000 scholarship. It's called The Voice of Democracy. Now, this one is due pretty quick, but I figured I should show it to you because of the amount of money that they're offering. So this is an audio essay contest. So you're not having to write anything. They want you to create a 3 to 5 minute audio that describes what you believe it is to be a patriot. Simple enough. You, on your phone, record a 5-minute explanation of what it is to be a patriot to you. And we have very interesting conversation going on right now with the NFL. There's a lot of questions about what they believe to be right, and both sides have their opinions. Here's your chance to kind of explain in your words, from a student's perspective, what it means to you. So this is being offered by the local VFW, and you would need to send that to them in Lancaster. You can put it in the mail, or if you can get mom or dad to drive that information over to the VFW in Lancaster, and I have the address on the document that I'm going to give you. You have an opportunity to win a $30,000 scholarship just by giving the best oral essay. The second one, which is probably my favorite because it just makes me laugh every time I see it, it's a $2,000 scholarship called The Zombie Apocalypse. Now, I know zombie shows are really popular right now, and the intro says, imagine that your high school or college has been overrun with zombies. Your math professor, the cafeteria lady, and even your best friends have joined the Walking Dead. Flesh out a plan to avoid the zombies, including where you would hide and the top 5 things you would bring to stay alive. And you have to do that in 250 words or less. So that's maybe a paragraph of how you would hide and stay alive if your school was overrun with zombies. I think I would do that one just because it sounds fun. But that one's due October 31st. And sharing your ideas about how you would combat zombies can win you $2,000. The next one, the CapEx essay contest, is actually, it's not essay, it's easy. You don't have to apply, you don't have to do anything besides go to this website and register an account. So you would go to the Easy Essay website, which I have on the document that you'll get, create an account, and they give out $1,000 scholarships. And they would email you if you were a winner. November 19th, the Gear Up Your Future. Now, this has nothing to do with the Gear Up program, but I added it because it reminded me of, the Gear Up program at DeSoto. So what you're doing is, this is a community service award. If you're a student that has exemplary community service and you get engaged in community activities, you would send that information to them, and with your high school principal recommendations, you need a recommendation from your high school principal, they would decide annual winners. So you just write down, I work for the Rotary, I volunteer at the food bank, I do this, that, and the other. You'd have your principal verify that you do these things. You'd need some kind of a written document to prove that you did it and have them say some good things about you. And you're ready to go. Send that in and you have a chance to win $2,000. The next one is called Education Matters. This is another 250 word or less essay. This one is, what would you say to someone who thinks education doesn't matter? Or that a college is a waste of time or money? What would your response be? In 250 words or less, how would you respond to someone who said it's a waste of time? Turn that in, submit that information, and you've enrolled yourself to be eligible for that $5,000 scholarship. Noble Sports. This is for female athletes. This one's actually just for sophomore students. But if you are a sophomore and you participate in athletic events, you're on a soccer team, baseball team, dance, you would go to this site. They have it set up kind of like a Facebook or social media site. You will post at least 3 times before December 1st and write something about your athletic game, teamwork, working with a group of girls, how you all get along. Post 3 times, and then you're eligible to win $5,000 just by posting girl power. Doodle for Google. This is a $30,000 scholarship. So you've all been on Google, and the first thing that happens when you open up a Google search engine is you have the little picture at the top, and you notice that it changes maybe monthly or if there's a holiday, there's a special one that applies, they have a contest for students to create those banners. And the top prize is $30,000. There are tiers, so $30,000 isn't the only one and done scholarship. There's different tiers and tiers for those other students that can win and receive money, but not in the same value. I think the lowest one I saw was maybe $10,000, but it's worth a try. Next one is our presidential tweet. We're coming into the end of 2017, and it's asking you 250 words or less. What would you say to someone who thinks education doesn't matter or that college was a waste of time? So this is very similar to the one we saw up above, but you're doing it as a tweet. Think about, our president wakes up every morning and tweets. Under the same kind of umbrella, you woke up one day and you were tweeting about education. What would you say? Your top 10 list. For $1,500, you would write 10 reasons why you should get this scholarship. Easy enough. In 250 words or less, 10 reasons why you should get this scholarship. Go to the link that I will give you, write your 10 reasons, and you have just given your chance to win $1,500. Technology Addiction Awareness Scholarship. This is where you would use 150 characters writing a message about technology addiction. So I know I'm one of those people that has to check my email and has to look at my phone and has all this different media that I need to know and engage with all the time. If you get so extreme, that's called technology addiction. So they're wanting students to kind of research what that is about and in 140 characters or less, give advice or kind of define what that is about. So it's going to require you to do some research and then your own words explain what that means to someone that might not know what it's about. The next one, I have a dream. 250 words or less. If you look, this is right around January, so this is kind of going with the Martin Luther King, because that's this time of year where we celebrate Martin Luther King. But it has a little twist. It says, you're having a dream. What are your hopes for the future? Share your dream with us for a chance to win $1,500 for college. So you're basically writing what your dreams are. What do you want to do in the future? Very simple. Well, maybe. Some people might find that a little hard to kind of verbalize what they want to do, but this is a great way to help you think through that process and win some money. Okay, continuing on, We the Student. This is 800-word essay, and this has to do with the internet. The question, it's basically just a question. What extent does the U.S. government, federal, state, or local, have the duty to monitor internet content? So you're writing, how much control do you think the government should have on what happens on the internet? Should there be some controls? I think this is a poignant one as well. Facebook has a lot of information that we're questioning if it's true. Should there be someone to regulate that and control what's being said? This is your chance to kind of write what you think about how much control the government should have on our internet. And this is $5,000. Sweet and Simple. Another short 250-word or less essay. Not every gift has to be expensive or extravagant. In fact, something as sweet and simple thing can make a real difference in our life. Think back and tell us about something you received as a gift and why it meant so much to you. So you're writing about a time that someone gave you a gift and why that was important to you. Take a personal experience, turn it in. You have a chance to win some money for college. The greeting card. This is for our designers, our creative students out there. This is a greeting card contest. You will submit your artwork to the website that I will give you on that document, and it needs to be an original work. Must be appropriate for commercial or business use, so you think about the Hallmark cards that you buy at the grocery store. You would be creating a greeting card. Turn that in. The winners will receive $10,000 scholarship. The next one, superpower, 250 words or less. Which superhero or villain would you want to be for a day and why? So have some fun with this one. You could be the superhero or the villain, and you would write a paragraph of why you'd want to be that for the day. Turn it in. Got a chance to win some money. All About Education is a $3,000 scholarship. And you would write in 250 words or less why education would make a difference in your life. So if you were able to go to college and get your education, how do you perceive that would make a difference in your life? That's what they're asking you to do. E-waste. There's a lot of technology devices out there that are, once you get done with your cell phone, what happens to that cell phone? What happens to your laptop? Most of us will recycle them. Some of us will sneak it into the trash can. This one's asking you to come up with an innovative idea on how to recycle those. So if you have an idea, you'd write an essay about what you could see happening with those devices and a chance to win money. The Anthem, this is one of those scholarships for a book report. This is a book that was written by Anya Rand. You read her book. You go to this website that's on this document. They have some response questions that you would answer. You only have to pick one, and you'd write between 600 words and 1,000 words response to what your perception of the book was. They're very specific questions. You'd have to be able to read the book to answer them, but you would be able to receive scholarship for answering that question correctly. And I know this website has winners that have won in the past, and it shows you some of the essays that they've turned in, so this would be a good one for you to check and see how other people have answered those questions. The 5th month, $1,500 scholarship. This one's kind of silly. What this is about is the number 5, which just happens to be a fun time to apply for a scholarship, they're saying. May is the 5th month of the year. Write a letter to the number 5, explaining why 5 is important. Be serious or funny. Either way, be original with your work. So you're writing to the number 5 and giving him a pep talk about why he's great. Kind of silly, so if you have a quirky personality, this would be right up your alley. You're writing to this number to tell him why you think he's great. And if you come up with a good idea, you have some money coming your way. All right, the last section before I'll let you go. The do-over. Another 250 words or less. If you had a chance to do over a moment in your life, what would it be? How would it affect your future? If you could get it done over, what would it be and why? So this would be one that you would want to reflect on something that if you were able to make a different choice, you could perceive a different outcome. I think we all have one of those moments, at least one, where we could say, if I just would have done that, this would have happened. But we didn't know ahead of time. Just one of those things that happens. So if you have a thought and you're able to put that into words, you would fill out this document, turn it in, and have a chance to win. Flavor of the month. This one's coming at the end of July. So July is National Ice Cream Month, and that's the inspiration behind this award. It says, some ice creams are nutty, while others are a little exotic. Some are even comforting. If you were an ice cream flavor, which would you be and why? That might take some thought, but it's worth writing it out, putting a little effort, turning that in to get you some money for college. We have Make Me Laugh. This is another funny one. This is your chance to show them you have a funny bone. Perhaps you've always been funny. Do you have a story to share? Describe an incident in your life, funny or embarrassing, and make us laugh. So think about a time when you're sitting around talking with your family, and every time people start laughing because it was just like so random and hilarious. See if you can put that into writing to win some money for school. Now the last two are scholarships that are ongoing, and they are monthly awards. The Venture Scholarship Program, this one's for first-generation college students and minority students. If you are pursuing a math or science-based career, you should consider applying for this award. There doesn't seem to be any kind of essay. It's just a site that you would go and register for. It actually is a site that gives you allows you to search for colleges. So if you were wanting to do like the virtual field trips that I know your coordinators do with you all, this is another website for that. If you go and register and use that site, you are giving yourself the opportunity to win an ongoing award. So they do it several times a year for those that use that website. And then the last one is another one, No Essay Scholarship. If you go and register on this site and use it as well, they give out $2,000 every month to those that participate and actively engage on that site. So I try to pick ones right now for our students that are freshmen and sophomore that have a few more years to go before they go off to college. These are very simple, easy scholarships to kind of get your feet wet, get you in the process of, writing down your thoughts without having to be these big, long essays and turning them in. Remember, this is a numbers game. The more scholarships you apply for, the more likely money's going to come in. So try some of these out. Some of them come up pretty quick. Some of these you have until summertime to kind of get your thoughts together and turn them in. It's worth trying now. The more you try, the better luck you're going to have. Before I switch gears here. Also on the document that I've given you to download, and then I'll be emailing you, is actually a website that has thousands and thousands of scholarships that you can apply for. So remember, I kind of picked the easiest ones that, are not so scary to start off with. But if you were to go through this site, they have very specific information. So if you were a student that wanted to become an engineer, they have pages and pages of scholarships for future engineers. If you wanted to be a nurse, if you were looking to go to school in Florida, they have a website and lots of information on there about scholarships available for students that want to go to school in Florida. So you just have to do some searching and find some more information to help you reach that goal to go to Florida. All right, so I hope that you found these interesting and have kind of sparked your imagination of trying to apply for these and getting some of that money together for your future college aspirations. I'm going to switch slides here, and I'm going to give you all an opportunity to ask any questions if you have any. So if you type in that box, I'll be able to answer any questions. And then if you look down at the bottom, if you are on your computer, there's your handout available there. So you can click and download that document. Otherwise, I will email it to you tomorrow. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be ready to take those. Okay, I see a question coming in. I also wanted to show you here, we have a community service interest form. So if you were to click on that, we are trying to put together some community service projects for our students and the freshmen and sophomore. And if I could get a better idea of what y'all are interested in, we can better target those community service projects for you. So the question is, how will I get your email address? So you all had to register to participate in tonight's event. So, and I have the email address that you registered with. So I will send it to you through those emails, addresses that you put in when you applied to attend tonight. If we wanted to go back through the slides, would be able to. Yeah, you know, I will add the PowerPoint to the email that I send out to you all tomorrow, so you can have a copy of it. So the question is, can we apply for multiple scholarships? Yes, you can apply for as many of these as you want. Now, you can only apply one time for each scholarship. So if you were wanting to do that zombie apocalypse, you couldn't write 5 scenarios and turn those in hopes that one of them gets picked. But you can apply for the zombie apocalypse, the Voice of Democracy, this Prudential Spirit Award. You can apply for those as many times as many of those as you'd like. Can you come by and work on scholarships after school? I'm going to say yes. The site coordinators, they have an office at the high school. They are in room 201. I know that school gets out or just a little before 3 o'clock, and we're usually there on campus till just around 5 o'clock. So if you are interested in coming by and asking them for help, I'm sure they'd be glad to help you or be willing to set up a time when you can come and meet with them and they'll help you. Good question. So this program is being recorded, and addition to the information that I promised that I send you, we actually have a YouTube page where we upload all of our recordings, and I usually include the link to our YouTube page where you'll be able to watch all the sessions that we've done for the last year and a half. So this will be added up there as well, and then if you wanted to refer to the others, you could look at those too. Do we have any other questions? Thank you. Do you ever get feedback on the success rate? Can you give me an idea of what you mean success rate? If you get accepted, if you get the scholarship, are you asking, will you know? I think if you were wanting to know if they give you feedback on your essays, I don't think many will give you feedback on the essays that you turn in. They usually only notify if you received it. So you want to make sure that you have someone read over your information before you turn it in. Have a teacher look at it. Have someone that has good editing skills look at it before you turn it in, and that'll be a good way to get feedback before And that'll give you the confidence that you know what you've given is good. If we want a scholarship, can we spend it on whatever we want or just school? That's a good question. It would just depend on if you had money left over. So say you received 10 scholarships, and the money that you received, 5 of it covered your tuition, and then you had, $2,000 left over after your tuition, room and board was all paid for. Yes, then you would have the ability to use that money to live off of, if there's anything extra. But of course, the money first has to pay for school, and then whatever's left over would be considered money that you could just live off while you're at college. So the question is, if you turned it in late, would it be reviewed or would it be thrown out? So this is not like your teachers at school that would consider grading in any way. They're very strict about the deadlines. Make sure that you get it in on time or they don't look at it. So do you want to complete that interest form? I would prefer that you did. You don't have to. It just gives us a better idea of how to target the community service projects that we're going to be doing for you all. So I see we have a few more questions coming through. Apologize for the pause. I'm just waiting to see these questions. Yes, these scholarships would pay for out of state. So if you receive the reward and you're a sophomore right now, they would hold that money until you tell them what university or college that you're going to, and then they would send it to that school. And it doesn't matter if it's in Texas or Alaska. Wherever you are, they will send that money to that school. So the question about is what are some of the community service things we'll be doing. So I have some parents that are looking into community service projects, and the ones that we're looking at is volunteering at like an animal shelter. So if you like dogs, that would be, our animals in general, that would be a good place for you to go. We are looking at volunteering at Special Olympics, at maybe a hospital, at a food kitchen, a donation center where people like donate clothes and furniture items. You could help at those centers. If you were interested in being a tutor, we're trying to put opportunities together where you'd be able to tutor younger students or even students that, in the same age level that are just, if you are good at math, you'd be able to tutor them. So if you remember, those community service things that you do, those are going to help you stand out from the crowd. The more community service you're able to participate in, the better position you're going to be in when it comes time to do some of these scholarships and the admittance process into college. So how does the system work? If you win a scholarship, is it over the internet or do you receive a check? So no money will come to you directly. You will get an award letter in the mail saying that you've won the award, and then you would notify them what university it is that you're going to be attending. When you send them the notice of where you're going to be attending, they will send that money to the university. So no money will actually come to your hands. It goes directly to the university. But you will have proof that you won it in a documented form. So can you get scholarships for band and journalism? Absolutely. So we were just at a meeting maybe a month or so ago that TCU gives their band students a scholarship. I wish I remembered how much it was, but just being part of the TCU band, they provided scholarships for their students. Were they full rides? Probably not, but enough money to want you to come and maybe help pay for some of your school while you're there. Journalism, same thing. So if you want to change schools after you already chose that school, can you? I would think you could. You would just need to make sure they knew it before the first day of school. And then they would get it to the right place. But if you already started the first day of school at that institution and then switched, I could see that being a problem. So you want to make sure that you let them know only after you've made your final decision. Do we need to know what college we want to go to before we apply for scholarships? No. You're freshmen and sophomores right now, and if we remember that students as young as 12 years old can apply for some of these, they're not expecting you to know where to go at this point. You know, these are just opportunities for you to put some money aside. So once you decide, you will let them know. You don't need to know at this point. Good question. Is there a limit to how many you can apply for or the money you receive for them in total? I don't believe so. I don't think that there would be. You can apply for as many scholarships as you want. So if you're super motivated and you apply for all 25 that I gave you, that's amazing. You just increased your opportunity to win some money. And then on the document that I'll send you, there's a link for a scholarship site. And there's literally thousands of scholarships. If you wanted to spend in the next 4 years going through and applying for those, make it happen. That would be great. The more money you have, the better off you'll be. When should you start applying? Start now. The first one's due October 27th. If you have time to record that audio file and get it over to the VFW in Lancaster, I would get that done. I would encourage you to do it. When should we start saving for college? That's the $1,000,000 question. You know, some parents start saving for their students' college funds the moment their kids are born. We're not all that lucky. Any opportunity that you have, any moment that you have to start saving, I would save it. College is an expensive task, and if you were to try to pay it out of pocket as you go, you will find that to be very difficult. Can you do that? Yes. But why do it unless you have to? So I would start saving yesterday. Do scholarships pay for food in dorm rooms? Yes. If you have money left over after your tuition is paid, yes, that money can go towards your food in your dorm room. If you have money left over after food and dorm rooms are paid, that money is yours. So Yasmin has asked, would the amount of money from private scholarships affect the amount of money you would get from a university scholarship? It would just depend, and that would be a question that you would need to ask the university. If you were thinking financial aid, if you were filling out the FAFSA, back when Miss Williams went to school, the FAFSA, the money that you would receive from the government would pay for your tuition, room, and board. It would just cover it. But now, there's an expectation when you apply for FAFSA that your family will contribute some money. So that won't affect the scholarships that you receive now, because there's an expectation that you will have outside funds come in to help support what it is that you're trying to achieve in college. Now the schools, I'd have to do some investigating on that, Yasmin, and I can get back to you to let you know the answer. I wouldn't think so, but I've never had that question before, so I'd have to ask. You guys have great questions. For those of you, you're welcome to stay around and continue to participate in these questions, but this is really the end of our session. So if you wanted to exit, you may, but I'm going to hang around and answer these questions for you. So someone said, what is FAFSA? This is your financial aid that you can apply for from the federal government. This is money that you have to pay back. So if they give you $10,000 to go to college, you'd fill out a form online and you would apply, and then they will say, okay, we will give you $10,000 to go to school. You have to pay that money back with interest. These scholarships that I'm showing you here tonight, there's no expectation for you to pay them back. This is just money that they're giving away for free to make sure that you achieve your goals. So would you rather get money for free or ask the government for money that you'd have to pay back? Now, at some point that might be an option, but we have 4 years to figure that out. Let's worry about trying to get these scholarships to prevent you having to borrow money. Can you get FAFSA with a scholarship? Absolutely. Yes, you can do both. Can we get financial aid with a scholarship? Well, they're separate things. They're different entities coming from different organizations. So that they don't combine, but they're separate. So if you wanted to apply for financial aid from the federal government, you can do that and accept whatever money that they offer you, and you pay that back. And then if you wanted to apply for these scholarships from the universities and from these private organizations, you can do that as well. You're welcome. All right, so it looks like we're done with our questions. Before we go, oh, here we go. Can there be multiple winners of the same scholarship? That would be nice, but they usually only pick one. Some of the scholarships that you saw that were big numbers, like $30,000 and $20,000, that's the first place winner. And then they'll have lower tiers. So if you were a runner-up, you might get $1,500. If you were a finalist, you might get $500. So it just depends on the amounts and the organization that's awarding it, whether it's just a one and done or if they tier it out so multiple people can win. And you'll be able to find that out on the links that I provided you. And Chris, I wanted to just let you know that don't let there only going to be one winner discourage you. I've talked to several organizations that say we have this money, but nobody's applying for it. They can't give it away. And they can't give it away because nobody knows about it. So you might be the only person applies, but you don't know that unless you try. So don't let the thought of, well, there's 10,000 people applying, but we don't really know how many people apply. Try, take a chance. If that scholarship doesn't work out for you, try a different one. Take a chance. But if you don't take the chance, what are the odds of you getting it? They're better if you try. Is it likely that we would win? How many people try for these scholarships? So that's the same, Yasmin. I'm not really sure how many people try, but you never know. I think there's a lot of scholarships out here that are available, but nobody's applying for them because they assume there's 10,000 people that are going to apply for it. But I wouldn't assume. Just try. It's not going to hurt to put your name in the hat. You might win. Okay, so if you win, will the scholarships be sent to us or a counselor? You will get a document in the mail that says you have won. The money itself will not touch your hands. It will go directly to the university. And then whatever is left over, the university will give it to you. Is that an accurate description? You will ask the university, will get the money from the institution that awarded it to you. If the university absorbs it all through your costs, school books, tuition, lodging, then you won't see any of it. But if there's extra left over, they will pass it down to you. Do you need to print the goal setting sheet? I would encourage you to, because that's just one of those skills that you will want to do, is to set some goals for yourself. And when you write it down, you're more likely to make it happen. But if it's just kind of up in your head, we forget sometimes, and then you're trying to think of it later and you can't remember it. But if you go find that piece of paper, you're like, oh yeah, this is what I said, this is my goal, I'm going to reach that goal. So I would encourage you to print it out, think about some of the goals that you want to do over the next 4 years, write them down, and reference them over the next 4 years to see how many you actually accomplished. So are there higher or lower amounts of money given to the same scholarship but to different schools? So again, it just depends on the scholarship. You'd have to kind of look at the links that are given. The ones that are the larger amounts, $20,000, $30,000, yes, there are different tiers amounts of money depending on how far you progress in the process. Okay, I'm going to jump to the next slide real quick, and then we'll jump back to see if there's any questions. So I want to remind you all that we have multiple access to social media. If you want to get information about Gear Up, you want to see pictures of yourself, we are active on social media. Our Twitter handle, our Facebook page, you can find us all at DeSoto Gear Up. If you're on Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we also have a YouTube channel. Find us, get more information about our program. And then go see your site coordinators. They want to see you. They want to see your face. They want to talk to you. They want to know about you. They want to help you. They are in room 201 on the freshman side of the building. Pop in one day, introduce yourself, and let them work for you. They come every day to make sure you are successful. So use them. Okay, so it looks like we're kind of done with the questions. I'll hang around for a couple minutes, but I think this is a good time to wrap up and say goodnight. So I will see you all in the hall.